All protocols observed, good afternoon. Eulogy for the late Owen Lennox Moncrief, Fantan, Mojah. The message is love. The message is peace. The message is unity for the human race. Today we gather to celebrate the life and legacy of Owen Lennox Moncrief, affectionately known to family and close friends as Conrad, and to the world as Fantan Mojah. The boy. Owen Lennox Moncrief was born on August 5, 1976, in the rural mountainous district of Elderslie, St. Elizabeth, to his loving parents, Lynn Moncrief and Lennox Moncrief. He was the firstborn of 4 children, and from an early age displayed the adventurous spirit and vibrant personality that would define his life. He attended Elderslie All-Age School, now known as Elderslie Primary and Junior High School, where he began laying the foundation for the remarkable journey that was to follow. Fantan did not grow up in material wealth, but he grew up in a place where it was the village that raised the child. His parents and community gave him an up-close example of hard work. His father was a farm worker, and being the first son, had to assume the responsibilities in his father's absence. He was very protective of his mother and sisters. That environment shaped the dominant spirit and go-getter approach to his life, attributes that would later influence the music and message. Growing up in the peaceful and salubrious climes of St. Elizabeth, Elderslie, Owen embraced the simple joys of life. He had a deep love for nature and was especially fond of birds and rabbits. Fishing was one of his favorite pastimes, and many cherished memories were made as he spent countless hours in the bushes with friends hunting birds, catching parrots, and enjoying the freedom and beauty that country life brought. On one occasion, Owen had tasked his sisters with sodding the river to catch perch fish. The 2 bars of Blue Bomber and Dirty Girl soap were finished, which enraged his mother, who never entirely believed in sparing the rod and spoiling the child. Suffice it to say that the dinner pot filled with the day's catch allayed the punishment that might have resulted from the wasted soap. Those who knew him during those years remember a young man who was full of energy, laughter, and a zest for life. We now look at the man. If you had the power to change just one thing, what would it be? Well, change the system. You know, you see me look upon myself as a blesser of art and a part of the mission because I see it only one way. And he asked the question, why me, Jah? In the early 1990s, Owen left St. Elizabeth and moved to Kingston in search of new opportunities. He worked at Jack's Bakery and took on various other jobs, including lifting sound equipment for the legendary Kilimanjaro sound system. He was determined in making something of his life, and he did not shy away from hard work. Such was his industry. Yet no matter what work he did, music was always his true calling. He personified the words, "What don't kill me, make me stronger. Every trial make me wiser, make me stronger. Well, Selassie protect his children, keep them from falling. Me cry, me cry, me cry, me cry. They're wishing for me to fall, but Jah is going to make me stronger. They're wishing for me to fall, but Jah is going to make me higher. You will never see me on the street side begging for bread. Jah bless me with a roof over my head. Just keep focused, because one day better is ahead. Jah power is stronger. This spoke to his resilience and the determination to make it in the music industry. We now look at the legend. From a very young age, Owen's passion for music was unmistakable. Family and friends fondly remember him and his companions creating rhythms and beating on old pans and zinc fences, transforming ordinary objects into instruments of joy. It was clear even that the music flowed naturally through him. So when he chose to pursue a career as an artist, it came as no surprise to those who had watched his love for music grow over the years. Owen emerged to prominence on the music scene in the mid-2000s. He had initially called himself Mad Killer. However, after spiritual awakening and rebirth, he became known as Fantan Mojah. During this tenure of his musical journey, he quickly established himself as a respected reggae artist with a powerful voice and a message that resonated both in Jamaica and throughout the wider world. The song Hungry was a social discourse in which he engaged the government and corporate Jamaica. Through his music, he inspired audiences with songs of faith, hope, consciousness, and perseverance. His impact was far-reaching and wide. He graced stages in Jamaica, the United States of America, Europe, and of course, the motherland, Africa. His dedication to his craft never wavered, and he remained committed to music as its positive influence until his very last breath. Beyond the stage, Owen was a devoted father who deeply loved his children, Fantasia, Azari, Anastasia, Owenique, Jaden, and the other children that the family may not know of, as he was quite the ladies' man. His family was an important part of his life, and he measured the moments he shared with them. Owen had a charismatic personality that naturally drew people to him. He loved people, especially the ladies, and they loved him in return. His charm, his confidence, and his warm spirit left lasting impressions on anyone who came in contact with him. But perhaps the true measure of Fantan Mojah's achievements is understood only when we consider where the journey began. Long before the international stages, the recordings, the recognition, there was simply Owen, a little country boy from Elderslie, St. Elizabeth, beating rhythms on old pans and zinc fences and carrying with him a dream far larger than his circumstances. He would leave the familiarity of home for Kingston in pursuit of that dream, working ordinary jobs, lifting the sound system equipment, and during some of the hardest days of his journey, he was even wiping car windows in Halfway Tree to survive. And yet, the hardship did not silence him. He transformed it into purpose. The young man who knew hunger would one day sing the song Hungry and give voice to people who knew what it meant to struggle and to give hope and want for a better life. For those from humble beginnings, the voice that was nurtured in the hills of St. Elizabeth traveled far beyond anything that little boy beating zinc fences could perhaps have imagined. Hungry rose to the top of the Jamaican charts. Hail the King helped to establish him as one of the distinctive voices of the resurgence of conscious reggae, and songs such as Stronger, Rasta Got Soul, Corruption, and Nabil Great Man carried his message to audiences far beyond Jamaica's shores. From the Caribbean to North America, from Europe to South America, and across the Atlantic to Africa, Fantan Mojah stood on international stages, carrying with him something unmistakably Jamaican. He brought with him the language, the spirituality, the struggles, the rhythms, and the resilience of the people who produced him. He did not have to leave Eldersley behind to reach the world, but in many ways, he took Eldersley with him. And therein lies one of the greatest legacies of Fantan Mojah. His story belongs not only to those who bought his records, stood before the stages that he performs. It belonged to the little boy and the little girl sitting somewhere in Eldersley, somewhere in St. Elizabeth, somewhere in Jamaica, and indeed anywhere in the world, who has a dream that seems far larger than his or her circumstances. Owen's life reminds them that your beginnings does not have to determine your destination. You can come from a farming community and reach the great stages of the world. You can experience hardship and create from it something beautiful. You can be overlooked, but you still persevere. You can begin with very little, but have the talent, faith, and determination and a dream, and still leave footprints in places that you never imagined that you would ever reach. That is why today we mourn Owen, but we must also celebrate what Fantan Mojah represents. He represents possibility. He represents the extraordinary potential that can reside in an ordinary Jamaican community, waiting for an opportunity to reveal itself. Somewhere today, another child is beating a rhythm on an old pan, singing into an imaginary microphone, writing a song or kicking a football on a dusty field, studying beneath inadequate light, and carrying a dream that nobody else can see. To that child, Fantan Mojah's journey leaves an enduring message. Do not allow the humbleness of where you start to place a limit on how far you believe you can go. The road from Eldersley carried Owen Lennox Moncrief to the entire world. And through the music, he leaves behind a part of him that always finds its way back home. Today, then, we will remember all of him. We remember Owen, the son of Maiselin and Lennox, Conrad, the brother, the father, the friend, the adventurous country boy who fished the rivers, roamed the hills of St. Elizabeth. And we remember Fantan Mojah, the Rastaman, whose unmistakable voice carried the struggles, faith, aspirations of his people from the little corner of St. Elizabeth to the great stages of the world. And perhaps there is something beautifully fitting about the fact that it all began with a little boy making music on old pans and zinc. He did not know where the rhythm would take him. He could not have known the countries he would have visited, the stages he would command, the people who would sing his songs, or the lives he would have touched. But he dreamed, he persevered, and he believed. And somewhere those hills and gullies of Eldersley, the stages of the world, Owen Lennox Moncrief became Fantan Mojah. Today, his earthly journey has ended, but the message has not. The boy has left Eldersley St. Elizabeth. The man has left us, but the music remains. The message remains. And every time Hungry reminds us to see those whose society has forgotten, every time Stronger gives courage to someone who is going through a difficult season, every time Hail the King is played somewhere in Jamaica, Africa, Europe, America, or anywhere else in the world, Fantan Mojah continues to speak. And he reminds us that, oh, if Jah bless you along that way, you have to give thanks and praise. Only Jah love will bless me through my days. You don't have to listen to what they say. Jah love is here to stay. Only Jah love will bless me through my days. And nothing can take it all. Only hail the King. So we will not say that the song has ended. Gratitude to the King is forever. A song like this does not end. It passes from one generation to another. It lives in his children. It lives in his family. It lives in Eldersley. It lives in Jamaica. It lives in every young person who hears his story and dares to believe that where they began does not determine where they can go. And so, Conrad, Owen, Fantan Mojah, you came from the hills, you walked your road, you carried your people with you. You made them hear us, you made them see us. And now that the journey has brought you home, we give thanks for the life, we give thanks for the music, and above all, we give thanks for the message. The message is love, the message is peace, the message is unity for the human race. Rest well, Fantan. Your voice is silent, but the message lives on.